Hey everybody, this is Angela. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back to my channel, Proud to be Catholic. So I wanted to do something a little different. And again, I'm not trying to push anything on anybody. I just, want to be a blessing to everyone. So I thought that I would read Psalms 1 and 2 and this is, I can show you. This is what I'll be reading from the New American Bible. It's a Catholic Bible. So I thought maybe I would read Psalms 1 and 2. And here is how it goes. Psalm 1. True happiness. Happy the man who follows not the counsel of the wicked, nor walks in the ways of sinners, nor sits in the company of the insolent, but delights in the law of the Lord, and meditates on his law day and his law day and night. He is like a tree planted near running water that yields its fruit in due season, and whose leaves never fade. Whatever he does prospers. Not so the wicked, not so. They are like chaff which the wind drives away. Therefore in judgment the wicked shall not stand, nor shall sinners in the assembly of the just. For the Lord watches over the way of the just, but the way of the wicked vanishes. Psalm 2. The universal reign of the Messiah. Why do the nations rage and the people utter folly? The kings of the earth rises up, and the princes conspire together against the Lord and against his anointment. Let us break their fetters and cast their bonds from us. He who is throned in heaven laughs, the Lord derides them. Then is in anger he speaks to them, he terrifies them in his wrath. I myself have set up my king on Zion, my holy mountain. I will proclaim the decree of the Lord. The Lord said to me, you are my son. This day I have begotten you. Ask of me, and I will give you the nations for inheritance, and the ends of the earth for your possession. You shall rule them with an iron rod. You shall shatter them like an earthen dish. And now, O King, give heed. Take warning, you rulers of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice before him. With trembling, pay homage to him, lest he be angry and you perish from the way. When his anger blazes suddenly, happy are all who take refuge to him. And I kind of like that. So, I mean, that's a really nice, I guess it just, well, I got to think about what it means, because it's been a long time since I've read that. But, So I've been watching all of these videos on YouTube about the prosperity gospel, where all these TV preachers has said, it's, God wants us to be wealthy and everything. If you send in all your money, then, it's just hard to explain what they were, what the preachers were saying. And, like I said before, I got mixed into it. I got thrown into the prosperity gospel. I believe everything Joyce Meyer, Jesse Duplantis, Benny Hinn, Creflo Dollar, John Hagee, Kenneth Copeland. In my opinion, Kenneth Copeland was the leader of it all. I believe what they were saying, but yet they were taking money that everyone was sending to them and buying jet airplanes, houses, cars, furs, jewelry, and just flashing it around. And there was an interview with Joyce Meyer, and I think it was from ABC News. I think her name was Cindy something. And she was a news reporter this long time ago. And said, are you worried that someone takes the rent money and sends it to you and, for something? Joyce looked at her and said, no. So I got from that one interview with Joyce Myers that, Joyce really didn't care if you was able to put food on the table or gas in your car or pay your rent or pay your light bill. Because you know what? Joyce didn't have to worry about that because Joyce was living like a queen. And I mean, I've listened to her preaching and everything, and she would just brag about going to the most expensive restaurant and flashing money around and going to the best and most expensive hotels and bragging about having, the best jet airplanes and everything. And somebody was doing an interview with Benny Hinn and said, you got, an expensive suit? He said, yeah. He said, I'm staying in one of the best hotels. And I mean, and he just didn't care. And I mean, it's sad. It's sad. I don't know how they feel now. I don't know how Benny Hinn feels now, because I did see a recent video of him and he looked like he aged 30 years. I mean, the silver or whatever, the brown, is this complete white. And, but, I'm not here to judge anybody. But I would never do that to anybody. If I had a ministry, I would be honest about it. I wouldn't. It's just unbelievable how people can take, advantage of people. It is just really sad how TV preachers, not all of them, but some of them, like the ones I just said, can take advantage of people. And it's like, Kenneth Copeland and Jesse Duplantis, they just don't care about nothing or anybody, and that's sad. It really is. And I had often wondered, well, why didn't Kenneth Copeland's son, he used to be on all the time, and I'm not real sure, so I think Kenneth Copeland's son, John, had gotten into some trouble, and Kenneth had to, like, bail him out. I want to say that they bailed him out. Now he just does things behind the scenes. And so, I don't know. And I know that Kenneth Copeland's daughter, Kelly, has been married several times. I think she's been married 3. I don't know if she's married now or not, and I'm like, did she just up and divorce her husband for no reason? And but they do this thing called prosperity gospel and the word of life gospel. And I don't know. I mean, they just said that they take God's word and twist it and everything, and I believe it now. Excuse me. But I don't listen to them anymore. I stopped doing that because, I just didn't feel right about it. I just felt strange and weird about it. And then when I got away from it, when I stopped watching it, I had a clear conscience. I just felt peace. And, it's hard to explain how relieved I was, how it felt like all this stress and pressure on me was gone. And because I went back to my faith, Catholic faith. I started watching EWTN. I dug, my Bible out. I dug this out and I started reading it again. And this is my other Bible. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this one. It's King James and everything. And this Bible right here means the world to me because my mom gave me this Bible. And I got 2 of them that she gave me. I know she gave me this one, and I know there's another one that she gave me. And she was very funny about the New King James Bible. And I said, why the New King James? Because she had done some digging and asking and everything, and she said, I believe it's the New King James Bible. I'll have to look it up. I think it's the New King James. Is a Protestant Bible. And, it's a long history between Catholics and Protestants, and it's so confusing and everything why these 2 faiths do not get along and everything. And I don't understand it, so I'm not going to sit here and say why they don't get along because I don't understand it. But I do know from videos that I had watched that Protestants do not like Catholics. But I also watched a video with Jimmy Swaggart on it, Reverend Jimmy, or he calls himself a pastor, on Crossfire, and Pat Buchanan was on there, and Pat Buchanan is a Catholic. And his hatred for Catholics, I mean, he had, this was many, many, many years ago. This is like in 83, 84. And pure hate was in Jimmy Swaggart's face. You could look at it and tell his hatred for Catholics, for the faith, for the people. You know, he just pure hate. And his son, Donnie Swaggart, Jimmy Swaggart's son, has a pure hate for Catholics. He would get on his mother's show and he would tell people, if you're Catholic, you need to get out because you're going to hell. Excuse my French. You're evil and you're disgusting and you need to get away from the Catholic Church because they don't read the Bible. They make up stuff and they worship statues and worship Mary, this, that, and the other. And none of that's true. So, I don't know if somebody did something from the Catholic faith, did something to Jimmy Swaggart, made him mad, or maybe a Catholic priest, challenged him, and he didn't like it, and that's where the hate comes in. Pat Buchanan challenging him, and Pat Buchanan won, and he just had pure hate for Pat Buchanan. Jimmy Swaggart just hated. You could tell that Jimmy Swaggart, in my opinion, just hated anybody that is not of the Pentecostal faith. Because that's what Jimmy Swaggart is. And he wants everybody to be Pentecostal, no matter what. And he has hate for anybody that, I don't know if he does now or not, but in that clip you could tell if you were Methodist, Baptist, Presbyterian, Apostolical, Protestant, Catholic, maybe, Jehovah's Witness or Mormon, or even the Amish or whatever. He had a distaste for you. He hated you with a passion, in my opinion. That is what I saw from that interview where he was on, I believe there was a show on ABC called Crossfire. And I know there for a while I did read somewhere that Jimmy Swaggart and Jerry Lee Lewis did not speak. I know they were cousins. They were brought up in the same church, Pentecostal church and everything. And I think, Jerry Lee Lewis got away from it and everything, but he remembered his roots and everything. And I think that's what it all comes down to with Jimmy Swaggart, in my opinion. I think Jerry Lee still had his faith and everything, but he broke out in rockabilly. He was there in the beginning with Elvis, Johnny Cash, Ray Charles, B.B. King, Little Richard. He knew them all. Carl Perkins, he performed with them all. And I think that was what Jimmy Swaggart's problem was, because Jimmy Swaggart wanted to record gospel music at Sun Records, and he claims that he had a feeling or something not to go with Sam Phillips and everything. Well, here's the thing. Sam Phillips wasn't into gospel music. I don't think he was a believer. I'm not saying he was or he wasn't. But Elvis wanted to record a gospel album with Sun Records, and Sam Phillips didn't want to do that or something like that, and because there in Memphis, Sun Records was right there, the place to go. Everybody went. I think Ray Charles went there. I don't know where Ray Charles went. I shouldn't say that. I know that Johnny Cash was there, Carl Perkins, of course Elvis, and I believe Jerry Lee Lewis was there. And I think maybe Jimmy Swaggart was jealous of Jerry Lee Lewis. I think he had always been jealous of him, because I think it was because Jerry Lee had a little more freedom. Now, I can't prove that. I can't prove that maybe Jerry Lee Lewis's parents didn't approve of what he was doing. I'm not saying they did or they didn't, but it seemed like Jerry Lee Lewis had just a tad bit more freedom to do, to do his kind of music and everything. And I think it sounded like, from everything I've ever seen or read about Jimmy Swaggart, that Jimmy Swaggart's father was a Pentecostal preacher, and that the reins was tight on Jimmy Swaggart, and maybe that's where his hatred for people has come. But yeah, I mean, I hope and I do pray that, Jimmy Swaggart will change his ways, and he wouldn't have so much hate and disrespect for people of other faiths. Look, I'm not, I don't understand other people's faiths, but I certainly ain't gonna have a hate for other people's beliefs in their faith, because that's not me. I don't understand the Mormon faith, the Jehovah's Witness faith. I don't understand it, so I don't say nothing about it. And I mean, that's just me. And you can go on YouTube with some of these very well-known churches, or I don't know if you call them New Age churches or something. And there's people that has left some of these churches and say it's a CULT, because they tell horrible stories of their experiences with these big churches. And it's horrific. I mean, it's horrifying and scary that they went through it. There was a special on A&E a couple years ago called Extreme Beliefs in CULTS. And some of the survivors come out and told what happened. Some I've heard of, some of I didn't. So, but anyway, I just wanted to jump on here and read that. I hope you enjoyed that. And then, this talk and get some of my thoughts out. So, I hope your rest of your Sunday night is good. In between watching the Cowboys and Indiana Colts game, and so far Cowboys are ahead of time, or at least they were when I started this video almost 25 minutes ago. So anyway, I hope everybody has a good Sunday night, and please hit like and subscribe to my channel. Please hit that notification bell, and I hope to see you in the next one, and God bless.